G'day guys, well we're out and about in the high country like we are on most weekends. This time we're heading up to Mt Torbreck. Now the reason we're heading up to Mt Torbreck is to learn about a tragic story that occurred 77 years ago when an RAAF bomber slammed into the northern face of Mt Torbreck 200 metres below the summit, which claimed 4 lives. Now what makes this a really harrowing story is that after extensive military and private searches, the wreck and the bodies of the crew were not found for nearly 9 months, which is just absolutely incredible and a real tragedy. So not long after the incident, a memorial was built to these guys, but over time it got forgotten about and Mother Nature claimed it back. But 5 years ago, a bunch of forward driving mates got together and decided to restore it. So we're going to go up there, we're going to meet them and we're going to check it out. So let's go. On the morning of the 16th of May 1940, RAAF Avro Anson A4-4 with 23-year-old flying officer Anthony Daniel at the controls and Corporals Francis Hyland, Herman Sass and Ivan Stodor on board, departed Point Cook, Victoria with 2 other Avro Ansons en route to Camden, New South Wales. After approximately 45 minutes into the flight, the formation encountered a heavy storm front over Yea, Victoria. With no blind flying instruments on board, the crews had to rely entirely on their field of view for any mountainous terrain. With zero visibility in the clouds and on the fringe of the Victorian High Country, this made for very treacherous flying conditions. The 2 other Ansons were able to climb out of the storm, with one heading back to Point Cook and the other continuing on to New South Wales. In the few frantic minutes of radio transmissions back to base, A4-4's radio transmissions were jammed by the other Ansons who were transmitting at the same time. By the time base tried to radio back, and after numerous attempts at reaching A4-4, it was unfortunately too late and they received nothing but silence. The RAAF conducted extensive searches for A4-4 using over 30 different aircraft covering large areas of the Victorian High Country to as far as the Brindabella Ranges near Canberra. After 10 days, the RAAF search was called off and A4-4 was officially listed as missing, with the crew presumed dead. It wasn't until 9 months later that the wreckage of A4-4 and the deceased crew were found by local bushmen herding sheep 200 metres below the 1500 metre Mt Torbreck summit. They reported their find back to the authorities and a recovery crew was immediately sent to the area. The local bushmen guided the crew, comprising of RAAF officials, Victoria Police and a journalist in what was described as very dense and steep terrain. With A4-4 predominantly made from wood and canvas and flying at an airspeed of approximately 100 miles per hour, it never stood a chance careering into the towering mountain ash trees of Mt Torbreck. The bodies of the crew were put on pack horses and carried out to waiting ambulances where they were returned for burial with full RAAF honours. A memorial cairn was built at the crash site utilising smelted metal from A4-4's gun turret. This memorial was destroyed by a fallen tree and later relocated and rebuilt where it has remained for over 50 years. Our trip begins just out of the Eildon Township, where we head up Eildon Jamison Road and climb our way through the Rubicon State Forest and the Eildon National Park, where we turn off at Barnwell Plains Road. This will take us up to Mt Torbreck until we reach the beginning of the A4-4 Memorial walking track at the junction of Barnwell Plains Road and Torbreck Track. At just over 1500 metres, Mt Torbreck is the westernmost mountain range in the Victorian High Country. The area is enriched with early pioneering history, with gold mining, timber milling and various farming leases. Also not far from here is the Rubicon hydroelectric scheme, which was the first of its kind anywhere in Australia and is still in operation nearly 100 years on. This area was devastated by the 1939 Black Friday bushfires and has since regenerated into one of the tallest mountain ash forests in the region. So we've arrived at Mt Torbreck and we're currently at the car park at the start of the memorial walking track. The guys up there, we can hear the chainsaws buzzing away, so they're already hard at it, and judging by some of the timber around here, they're going to have their work cut out for them. So we've got a 2.5k walk up to the memorial site, and we've heard that there is snow above 1,000 metres, so it's going to be an epic walk, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing what's up there and also seeing what these guys have been doing for the last few years. So let's go check it out, eh? It wasn't long until we came across the volunteer team clearing some serious timber off the track. These guys look to be very experienced in this type of work and are very well equipped with the necessary chainsaws and equipment to get through these massive trees and clear them from the track. We left them to it, as we'll catch up with them later, and we continued on our hike up to the memorial. As the elevation increased, we started to experience snow under our feet, which got deeper and deeper as we went. We could soon see why trees regularly come down around here. The 2009 Black Saturday bushfires swept through here, and the intense heat has killed off many of the mountain ash trees. That said though, the bush has regenerated extremely well. After trudging up the mountain for nearly 2.5 k's, there was a clearing on our right, and we had soon discovered that we'd finally reached the A4-4 memorial. What a sombre experience being here, knowing that not far from this spot, 4 young men died and were up here for 9 long months before anyone found them. Every one of them in their early to mid-20s. What an absolute tragedy. The ferocity of the impact is quite evident on one of the radial engines recovered from the crash site, with a bend in the 2-inch thick prop shaft and a few cylinder heads broken clean off. So we've made it up to the memorial at Mt Torbreck, dedicated to the RAAF Avro Anson A4-4, and we're here with the volunteer team who is responsible for restoring this area over the last couple of years. So what was the area like when you guys found it a couple of years ago?
Completely overgrown.
Yeah?
Trees down everywhere along the track.
Yeah,
Very large trees.
Yeah, wow. So you spent, like, how many trips have you done in the last few years getting it back open?
Quite a number.
Yeah?
Yeah, at least 9 trips up here.
Yeah, right. And notice there's some serious timber around. Like, what's the biggest stuff you've cut?
Oh, the biggest one's about 1.5 metres in diameter, and we spent a whole weekend on it.
Yeah, wow.
To get rid of it.
Yeah, right. So you guys have volunteered all your time. Like, has anybody given any funding? Has there been any companies that have got involved at all?
No. Yeah, Vic Forest chipped in a bit of money and helped cover some of the costs, which was pretty welcome.
Yeah, great. And what did that go towards?
Oh, just equipment for chainsaws.
Yep.
Covering our consumables.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Fuels, oils.
Yeah, no, well, every bit a little bit helps, eh?
Yeah, and then Anvil Angus offered their equipment. They're a big beef producer, Angus beef producer, and they offered their Bobcat, which helped us get the engine mounted.
Yeah, wow.
And then they offered to let us use their Kubota 4-wheeler.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which saves an awful lot of effort getting up the hill.
Yeah, great. So what's the story with the engine? Is that it's obviously part of the plane when it crashed. Has it been here the whole time, or?
We wish it was.
Yeah.
It took a very large effort and a lot of winching to actually retrieve the engine from lower down in the valley there.
Yeah, right. What'd you winch it with?
4-wheel drives and lots of cables.
Yeah, wow.
Lots of cables, lots of straps.
Yeah.
And we actually had to build a sled for the engine so we could get it over all the obstacles and ride it up.
Okay, great. And it looks like it's on some sort of mount, like that.
where did, like, was that made, or is it something you got donated?
That was one of the crew custom made that to suit the engine.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it really complements the area beautifully. It's great. So, how often do you come up? Like, you obviously got some sort of maintenance program. Like, how many times do you come up a year?
Oh, we try and get up here at least once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on how much.
Preferably 2 or 3 times. But it depends on what type of storms and things you have.
I mean, just coming up myself, walking before, like, could see the cane just come through here, like with the winds and the weather we've had. So, you guys are doing a great job. That's fantastic that you've just done this off your own bat and restored a part of history. So,
well,
you know,
it respects the fact that the servicemen died here.
Yeah.
The memorial hadn't been seen for, I can't remember exactly how many decades.
Yeah.
But it's also something that now the family appreciates,
Yeah.
and as well as honouring our servicemen.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great for the families, like, because from what I've read about the incident, that they didn't even know, like, they didn't even know that this place existed, and then they found out that when you guys were doing it, and, like, have they been up here at all?
Yeah, there was an official ceremony to declare the track open.
Yeah.
And people flew from all over the place, Western Australia and where else they come from? UK.
Yeah.
The Raaf sent people up here.
Yeah.
They did a flyover with the PC9.
Yeah. Wow, that would have been awesome.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it was well done.
Oh, well, good on you guys. As I said, it's great that you're doing this so people can come up here and learn about what actually happened. Like, 4 people died up here and they weren't found for 9 months, and it's an incredible story. So good on you guys.
Story worth preserving.